And that meet record from last year, performance of the ages for the Olympic champion. We'll get to her in a moment. Sha'Carri Richardson being introduced to the crowd here.
Spectacular performance at the Olympic trial. She became a social media sensation, Otto. She was in working with Kanye West, the late Virgil Abloh, but also dealing with a lot off the track. She lost her mother and also received a 1-month ban for to be able to step on the track and perform at her best. She's going to need to do that. She only has less than 30 days before the U.S. Nationals, where she'll be vying to make her first World Championship team.
And here is the young lady with all the gold medals. 5-time Olympic champion Elaine Thompson Herah. She emulated her countryman Usain Bolt by going back-to-back 100 and 200 in the last 2 Olympic Games. And as Paul reminded you, her personal best is on this track. That's the second fastest performance ever.
American sprinters, along with Richardson, T.T. Terry, Dean Asher-Smith, the reigning world champion at 200 meters, absolutely loaded for this Xfinity women's 100 meters. Sha'Carri Richardson in lane number 3. A nice start for Dean Asher. Now up and steady, trying to hold off the field, and the Olympic champion does it again. Not as fast as last year, but a decisive win here in 10:79. As we'll await that to go official, but do what Olympic champions do.
A great run for Elaine Thompson Herah. She just looked like a veteran the entire race. She never quite dominated the field, but she always looked safe, like she was going to win. So we'll flash back to the start of this race. Thompson Herah there right in the middle of the track. Sha'Carri there in lane 3 also had a decent start. This race, she comes up and she just controls the field. But look at Sha'Carri there in the middle of the track. She will finish second, which is really good for this young superstar who's really just getting back. This is just her second race of the season. And she'll be proud, and this was all about mental for Sha'Carri. How is she going to be able to come back on this track after the disappointment of last season, finishing 9th here on this track? She came back out. Jackson there in 3rd.
And Jackson, one of those medalists in Tokyo again.
So this was the Prefontaine Classic back in 2022. So that race should have been Sha'Carri Richardson revenge race, but she did get her revenge later after on Elaine Thompson Herah, but not in that one. Elaine won back-to-back Prefontaine Classic, and that in the year 2021, the Prefontaine Classic before that one, Elaine ran the second fastest time in history in that one, running 10.54 seconds to make her the second or the fastest woman alive, basically. And also in that race, Sha'Carri Richardson did finish in last place, and there were all type of drama going on in the media surrounding Sha'Carri and the Jamaican athletes Elaine, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, and Shericka Jackson. Yes, so in 2022, the pre-classic, that should have been Sha'Carri Richardson revenge race because, yeah, she was peaking, she was in form, but Elaine stepped up, even though that was the period where Elaine Thompson's career started going downhill because she wasn't able, or she still isn't able to manage the injury that she been having since she started doing tracks, because at that time Elaine had left MVP Track Club, in which Team Francis and the team over there, they were managing that injury, that Achilles injury, pretty well, that Elaine was able to run back-to-back Olympic champion, and also run the second fastest time in history over 100 meters, also the third fastest woman over 200 meters as well. So they were able to manage the injury pretty well, but when Elaine parted ways with Team Francis and MVP, she went to train with her husband at the New Era Track Club, but it didn't go so well, so that's when everything started going downhill for Elaine. But Elaine in that race was still able to pull off a 10.8, which was a magnificent performance from her in that race. And as we know, a fit Elaine, no one can beat a fit Elaine, not even Shelly and Fraser Price, even though Shelly and Fraser Price did pull one off on Elaine in 2021, where Shelly and Fraser Price ran her fastest time ever, which would have been 10.60, and that would have been in Switzerland, Luzerne to be exact. Yes, so Shelly and Fraser Price did beat Elaine during her peak season, but as we know, Elaine has the second fastest time out of all time, 10.54, and we know Elaine is a beast, especially over 100. We know she has that 200-meter strength in her as well, hence the reason why she's back-to-back Olympic champion over 100 and 200 meters. But in this race specifically, Shericka Jackson was in this race, who is also a powerhouse, and Elaine was able to basically beat both Shericka and Sha'Carri, which would have been her comeback season in that race. So all around, it was superb finishing from, or sprinting from, Elaine Thompson Herah. As it regards to current times, Elaine, since that, Elaine hasn't really peaked. She did part ways with New Era. She started coaching with Shaniki Osborne, who was also a former coach at MVP Track Club. So during that time in 2023 to the back end of 2023, Elaine did catch back form and ran a couple 10.8s. But after that, 2024 now is when everything went flat for Elaine. She did not make the Olympic team and so forth. But we're hearing now that she is training in the United States. I think she is training in Florida, but not sure of the coach. Person spotted her training with Marvin Bracey, so we're not sure as to where Elaine is at the moment. We haven't seen her so far since 2025, so we don't know the type of form that she is in. We don't know if she is able to manage the injury, the Achilles injury. We're not sure where her whereabouts are, the form that she's in, any at all. But we do hope for the best for her, though. We do hope that she can find that form again. She can manage that injury properly. Steve Francis did suggest that Elaine should go to America to seek training or coaching, and she did that. She took his advice, because many was lobbying for Elaine to return to MVP, in which Steve Francis stated that he would love to coach her, but he's kind of full at the moment with young uprising sprinters. For example, the twin turbos, Tina and Tia. You also have Slowly there and many others. And of course, we know he has Shericka Jackson. So Steve Francis was basically saying, hey, I would love to, but yeah, we're full. So Elaine took the advice and is now in America. So we can't wait to see what she will produce this season, if she will race any at all. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed that throwback. Y'all can leave y'all thoughts on this one in the comments.